Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, those of you who are tuning in for the very first time, welcome. And those of you who know these two crazy folks on camera, I'm hearing myself. Here we go.
I hear you all the time.
I know, I'm just everywhere.
By the way, who are you?
So, yeah, that's a very good question. I am Alicia Curry in the bright blue shirt that's reflecting off of everywhere tonight. And I am here with the wonderful
Szebastian Onne, the almost naked CEO. And I am not reflecting as much, but I can see my dog here because I live with dogs.
Well, I just had to shoot my cat out of here.
This is Women Unleashed, and we're doing a special today, Alicia. What is the special about?
So yes, welcome to Women Unleashed. Woohoo! And in honor of International Women's Day, which was yesterday, as well as Women's History Month, which is coincidentally all month long.
Entire month.
The entire month of March. We are celebrating by doing a special on women in history, like some really remarkable, impactful women in history. So I hope that you have your picks for those women that have influenced you, women in history that have influenced you, that you can come on and share with us so that we can, have that join the conversation.
Celebrate these women together.
There's so many women that are amazing and powerful.
And that's one thing I want to say before we even start, that we have selected a few, but it was so hard. And, there is no specific we haven't gone through any preference. It's just that there's so many. I think we could do an entire month of it, but we just don't have the time.
And we'd still run out of time.
Cover all of them. There's so many amazing women.
So last week on the Audacious Confidence Show, I mentioned some. And this week we're going to do some more. And depending on the popularity of, how many people really enjoy it, we're going to do some more before the end of the month.
And more. Yes.
And more.
Well, the thing is, we can and we must celebrate women because women in history, even right now, there are some great women who are making
history
changes. And, and it's just mind-blowing the power women have and the change they can bring about once they decide enough is enough.
Listen, that's why this is called Women Unleashed.
Right.
It's all about women. Don't get jealous. Don't get jealous.
No. Half of me is happy. Half of me is very happy.
The FM side.
So, who is the first lady of honor we are talking about?
So we're going to talk about Ada Lovelace. So her whole name is actually Augusta Ada King, Countess of Lovelace. And she was born in 1815. She didn't have a very long life, but her life was very impactful in that she was considered the very first person to develop like computer code.
Wow.
She was back in the 1800s. Yeah, imagine that. She was one of the very first, she is considered the very first computer programmer because she was a mathematician, and she published the first algorithm intended to be carried out by machines. And her vision, her view of science, where science was going and where mathematics and computers were going, was so progressive. Her mindset was of this poetical science. Her father was Lord Byron. He was a poet, and she always had that poetry gene in her as well. But she was a gifted mathematician. And so she connected with Charles Babbage, who was also a very famous British mathematician. And he's known as the father of computers, but she was the first one to create the algorithm, an elaborate set of notes that actually programmed this machine that he created. And she always said that she felt that this analytical engine was sort of how individuals and society were going to relate to technology as a collaborative tool.
And look at
So,
that.
can you imagine that, Sebastian?
We are
Yeah.
actually this, we are using that technology. We are live using that technology. Everything is happening in such a phenomenal way that it's just absolutely mind blowing.
Back
And
in the
I'm
1800s, right?
so proud to say that once again, it is proven that women start everything progressive and everything exciting and revolutionary, right?
Yes, I never knew that. And doing research for the show, I found Augusta, and the thing is, her father left when she was a baby, when she was young.
Right.
And so she never really got to know him, but she followed him and she continued to read his works, and she was very inspired by poetry. And her mother didn't want her to be influenced by her dad as much, but it was in her genes. And unfortunately, she died of uterine cancer when she was 36 years old. So she was very, very young when she passed away. Can you imagine the impact she would have had if she lived into her 60s or 70s?
Right.
With that brain, that mind, that progressive mind in mathematics and programming. That's amazing.
It is. It's to be honest, once again, I don't think people at that time even knew what a computer is or what computing is.
Yeah.
They probably, I would say at that time, like a woman, doing all that and everything, different kind of objections and all that.
Yeah.
But that's why we need to celebrate these women, because they have created a change because of which today we're able to do so many things that we couldn't have imagined.
Well, let me just, as you mentioned that, a lot of people actually said that she did not create the first program, that in fact he did. So they're trying to predate the programming of this machine that he created and credit it to him and not to her. So, there is still that debate of whether or not she actually was the first one to do it. But in his notes, it's credited to her. But still, again, there's that debate over whether or not it was really her. If she had done that first, or if it was him. And also,
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I was going to say also, they saw what he was doing with that machine as just something for computing, like numbers, crunching numbers and calculating. And she saw it as a collaborative tool for technology, for humans, for individuals to be able to progress. So she had a very different vision than he did of the work that they were doing together.
What we need to acknowledge here is that collaboration is her vision is the reason today you and I are collaborating from this is our second year doing
the world.
This. Exactly. We're not even in the same room, not even in the same country, not even on the same side of the planet.
We're in different hemispheres.
Like I was complaining the time savings. It's so crazy.
I
right?
know. Yep. So, you've been complaining all day about the time.
I had to mention it.
Yes. So we won't. It wasn't a woman that created that, so we don't have to mention that this hour.
Now, here's the funny part. So everything that's annoying is created by men.
I did not say that. I did not say that. So I just wanted to really, because I'm not sure that people really know about Ada Lovelace, and so we wanted to bring someone new and someone different. So we have a couple different people that you probably have not heard of, or if you have, it's a great refresher for you. So you can look her up. Ada Lovelace.
It's important to acknowledge people in history, and especially in this month, we need to acknowledge the women. I don't know a person who has not been empowered by women in their lives, right? So let's see who's the next person and give our tribute to them as well.
Okay, so the next person we have coming up is Winnie Mandela. Winnie Mandela is, oh my gosh, she is such as we're talking about international women, right? She is such an inspiration for the apartheid movement, the anti-apartheid movement, I have to say. And back in the 60s, she was really the face of abolishing apartheid in South Africa, as her husband, Nelson Mandela, was imprisoned. After 5 years of marriage, only 5 years of marriage, her husband was imprisoned, and she stood by him for their marriage, for their entire marriage, fighting alongside him.
And look at that, how, how the history changed because of all that.
Right, for 20 years. So Winnie Mandela, she served as a member of parliament in 1994 to 2003. She was, again, the face of anti-apartheid in South Africa. She's a politician. She's the second wife of Nelson Mandela. And she continued to work at abolishing and changing the minds and the hearts of people against racism until she died. And so she was a political leader. She was just a powerful woman in history to help change an entire nation. So her husband was in jail for 27 years. Can you imagine? 27 years.
And this is where the adage comes to mind, behind every successful man, there's a woman, right?
Yeah.
And it actually is proven right so many times in history, over and over again. But I think what is more important is we need to also realize behind every successful woman is also a lot of women, It is about standing together, rising together, and facing everything together, and that's what brings about the change. And that's why these women are the leaders of change.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not just that her husband was jailed, but she was also imprisoned. She was tortured. She was beaten. She was subjected to a lot of really harsh and horrific treatment, and she maintained this solidarity with him and with the movement, despite everything. Exactly. And things in South Africa now are very, very different. In fact, so different that they elected Nelson Mandela as president. When, so how amazing was that she stood by and endured so much.
And you know what? To me, if you look at it, she directly contributed in what happened in Africa. Apartheid wasn't a small thing. It was
it was horrific.
One of the biggest tragedies. It's one of the biggest inhumane things that happened, and
much like the Holocaust.
Right, and it
was really
standing against that.
Right.
In itself is. For lack of a better phrase, you need balls, So it takes a real person to stand, because that means your life is in danger.
Your life is in danger. Your loved family is in danger. Yep, your children are in danger every single day, and it was a really difficult time, and it wasn't that long ago. It was in this. And
we all have actually seen Mandela, so it's not like we're talking about
recent history, right? It's more recent history that these atrocities have occurred, and so we just wanted to honor. She has passed since, but her legacy continues and is very, very prominent. So Miss Winnie Mandela is our next woman that we're honoring here today.
Well, I have to say before we go to the next woman that, really the Mandelas as a couple have really contributed to a change that has not only shifted the history for just Africa, but the entire world, for all women, for all humanity, really.
Yeah, that's so true. It's so true.
So who do we have next?
Who do we have next?
I think I'm going for this one.
Drum roll.
So I believe that should be Mother Teresa. So
Oh
Mother
yes.
Teresa, and I don't know a person who doesn't know Mother Teresa. And
No of.
Mhm. Yes. No, well, I can actually say people who know Mother
There
Teresa,
you go.
so I actually know a lot of people and I have had the honor. So I can actually say people who know Mother Teresa. Now, the great thing about Mother Teresa is she left her country, she left her, origin and moved to India and to help people and community that was actually the most outcast, the most neglected and rejected by the community. She served, to help people who are dying of HIV and AIDS, leprosy, tuberculosis, things that were considered untouchable, things that were considered horrible, and people were, as I said, outcast and removed from society, devoid of all human treatment, and
Humanity, right.
it was just horrible. And she is the woman who actually not only gave them shelter and support, she touched them.
Hmm.
She defied the norm and she said, I will be fine. And she gave them that compassion, that touch,
Yeah.
because there's nothing more healing than that touch when you have been rejected and somebody says, I love you and I care for you. And she said that to every single person. And
Hmm.
you know of our friend Kathy Terracchioni. She's spent time with Mother Teresa, and she has a great history with her. So people who have personally met her speak of her beyond what we know, how fun she was, how laid back she was, how kind she was, and she could do no wrong. She could say nothing wrong. It was like sometimes, and I think this is the reason that today she is called Saint Teresa of Calcutta, right?
She was actually she was conferred that title by the Catholic Church
Right, and
of
that was
sainthood.
recent history. That is recent history too.
Hmm.
Posthumously, she was done, and
Yep.
she has given so much to the humanity. I don't think we can count it in any measurements. Uh, she has helped children. She's created innumerable dispensaries, mobile clinics, counseling programs,
Yeah.
orphanages. I don't even know what she hasn't done. She's helped the poor, she's helped the destitute. She's
Right.
really
Sick. She
gone
was.
beyond religion, origin, color, caste, creed, any such thing,
I
and
think she
given.
was really one of those in again modern history to show that kind of selfless humanity. That's
Right.
just giving of yourself to someone
It
else.
sounds contradictory, but she was real example of indiscriminatory love.
Right. Yeah.
Really loving no matter who you are. I know of stories that are shared where people hated on her, people said bad things, people threatened things she was doing because it was, as I
Yeah. It
said,
was against the norm. It was against society. It was against
it was like how,
people's fear. People
and
were afraid.
her response was love. Her response was, I love you. Her response was, I understand you're angry, but I love you. I'm here for you. It's such a powerful statement when somebody's hating on you and threatening you, and all you're saying is, I love you. How
Hmm.
do you counter that?
You
There is
can't.
no way you can
There's
be
no
angry
counter
anymore,
to love. Love conquers all. As they say.
right?
Love
So
conquers all.
she is one of those, and even a person like me who doesn't believe in religion, I understand why she should be called a saint. I think that is what a real saint is. People, I think, not only people who change lives, but people who actually let you know that you matter, your life matters. Doesn't matter what you have, doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter what you have are going through. You matter, and
Yeah, and another one of our honorees, if we get to her, I'm not sure if we'll get to her, but Lady Princess Diana had a great relationship with
right.
with Mother Teresa as well. They
And I'm glad you mentioned her because she is actually one of the in Western countries. She was one of the revolutionaries who actually went beyond, beyond the royal protocol, beyond the norms, and she shook hands. it's a big statement. It's a historical
Right.
moment.
You're not supposed to touch royalty, first of all.
Right.
First, you don't touch royalty. But then
And
to
you
have someone
HIV.
actually, touch someone with HIV, hold kids with HIV/AIDS. That was phenomenal. But I don't want to take away from. We're talking about Mother Teresa.
Right.
I don't want to take away from that. I was just mentioning how
these two. I don't think there's a comparison. I think they complement each other as human beings.
How they were so connected in that way.
Right.
We were talking about collaboration and connecting, and how
exactly
every successful woman is a group of other powerful women, and that just goes to show they had the same heart for people. They were in very different stations in life, but they had the same heart for people.
And that's what it is, that they also together proved, royal or not, saint or not, simple or not, you can work together to change the entire world, right?
Yeah. So I love that we're honoring Mother Teresa. So let's take a quick break here.
Yes,
quick water break. And we'll be back with some more. Take it away, producer.
We'll be right back.
How cool is that? How cool is that intro, guys? Isn't that so cool? We're just stepping up our game here on Dramaniac TV.
We have a wonderful team. We have wonderful creativity, and as you and I talk about, to inspire and influence people, that's what we do, and it's just so much fun when we do together as a team.
Okay.
Even despite the time savings.
Back to that again. Listen, I really want to shout out our team, because you guys see us, and unless you're a guest of the show, you don't get to meet the rest of the team. Our guests always talk about how phenomenal our team is and how great our team is. And, we really do have one of the best teams in this business, in live streaming and all of this. So I want to give a shout out to Kirti, to Sanjit, to Parker, to Demetrius, to Ryan. Who am I forgetting? To Sam. Who else am I forgetting? Sebastian.
Oh, there's so many people. Melissa.
I know. Melissa. August. Yes, George, August.
Santosh. Josh. August.
Especially Mama Santosh. She keeps us all in line.
She's the boss.
The boss, right. Boss lady. But I just want to really shout out to those of you who are working so hard to help us put these shows together and help our guests, and help also build shows for our clients and customers as well. So,
and thank you very much for that. And let's if you want to know more about our team, just go to Dramaniac.com and click the team button and get to know all our team members.
Yes. And also, if you want to be a part of this, just go to studio@Dramaniac.com, Dramaniac.com.
And let me just say, if you're tuning in right now, this is Women Unleashed, and you're watching this is Women Unleashed on Dramaniac TV.
This is Sebastian and Alicia, and you're watching Women Unleashed on Dramaniac TV. That's how it goes.
And yes, we are crazy like this.
we got a new intro. We got all discombobulated.
That is the right word, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm in blue, not in red. What's happening to the world?
I know, right?
My hair's up, it's not down.
There's a red above your head, so it'll do.
All right, yeah.
Live red.
My hair is up and tall. I'm in blue. Who am I?
So you are Szebastian Onne and I'm Alicia Curry, or the other way around?
Well, you are pretty, but you don't have on red lipstick, so you can't be Alicia Curry. I'm sorry.
I have the lipstick inside.
All right. So let's move on. Let's go on. Go on. So
who is the next honorable mention here?
Okay, so Ms. Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks, she is an activist. She is Rosa Louise Macaulay Parks. And she did not want to get off the bus. She has been called the first lady of the civil rights movement, the mother of the freedom movement. On December 1st, 1955, in Montgomery, Alabama, Rosa Parks rejected the bus driver James Blake's order to relinquish her seat on in the colored section to a white passenger after the whites only section was filled. Parks was not the first person to resist the bus segregation, but the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People, which is the NAACP, believed that she was the best candidate for seeing through a court challenge after her arrest for civil disobedience in violating Alabama segregation laws. Parks' prominence in the community and her willingness to become a controversial figure inspired the Black community to boycott the Montgomery buses for over a year, the first major direct action campaign of the post-war civil rights movement. Her case became bogged down in the state courts, but the federal Montgomery bus lawsuit succeeded in November of 1956. So, Szebastian, you see what can happen when we are united? Because there were people, like I said, there were people who also didn't want to give up their seats. But what happened is when Rosa Parks refused and then was arrested for it, and there's, I don't know if people have a misconception if they don't understand. There were colored sections in the bus and there were white sections on the bus. She was not sitting in the white section of the bus. She was sitting in the colored section, but she was being ordered to get out of that seat for someone else who was white. She's like, I am open.
Which is two things wrong there. Not only the racism and everything, but on one hand, you segregate people and then you say it's okay for now to that person, that community that's segregating to now take over that right as well.
Yeah, you're stripping me of even the right to sit here.
Any dignity.
This is all you've given me, and now you're telling me I can't even have it?
And which is, again, no, I have not experienced that, but I can say, even to think of that time, I feel ashamed for humanity. I feel like, how could we even? And it is because of these strong women today, we don't know what that feels like. We don't know, I've seen racism. I've experienced things, but I can never relate that to being told that I have to sit in a specific section. It's
you can't use the bathroom. You can't use the bathroom. You have to use another bathroom. When I talked last week about Catherine Goebel, who was in NASA, and from the movie Hidden Figures, I wasn't there.
Right.
But in the movie, it showed how she had to leave where she was working on with the trajectory and all this stuff. She had to leave and go like almost a mile to where the colored bathrooms were to be able to use the bathroom. So, and she was on foot. She had to run to that area to use the bathroom, just to use the bathroom. How undignified is that?
And the thing is, for me to even imagine the colored bathroom and the
whites only and colored.
And I come from a country where, we have seen this. We have seen I don't even want to say that, but I'm just going to say it, no dogs and Indians allowed. The streets and the restaurants reading that. Same thing has been witnessed by Black people in history. And
Jews, Blacks.
Today, we have to be grateful for these men and women, these women who
that were willing to stand up.
Look at the history, most of these revolutions, most of these things, women were the first to come to the front and say, enough.
No more. We're not doing this anymore. I'm not taking it anymore. For me and my children and my family, I'm not doing it anymore.
Exactly. And this is where, I always say, not that it's my own words, but I'm just saying, when you educate and empower a woman, you empower a family, you empower a community, you empower a nation, because that's where the change begins. That's where the strength is. The calm and the patience and the strength and the revolution begins from a woman. And to me, it's still shocking surprising that we have gone through this. But at the same time, I'm also mind blown and amazed and in awe of these women who have lived through those times,
Mhm.
who have defied the biggest threats of the time and said, no,
Yeah.
not having
Let's
it.
put an end to it. So
Right.
Rosa Parks was um, like Winnie Mandela, stood up. She didn't leave her house that day saying, "I'm going to fight against this. I'm going to be the face of um, of this movement to stop segregation." She didn't wake
Right.
up in the morning and say, "Yay, I'm gonna stop this today. I'm gonna make a move." She was just
Right.
tired of being pushed around, and she
Right.
just stood up for herself and said, "No, not today, not today. You're not
Not
gonna do
having
this
it.
to me today." And
Right.
that's how
And
most of these things get started. It's just like, I've had enough.
yeah. And, look, again, I think the only thing I can say is we have to be really grateful. These are just the 4 or 5 women that we are covering today. I know we have one more, but I'm just saying these are just the very, very, it's not even the tip of the iceberg of the amount of women who have sacrificed so much, who have done so much for us and created not just history, but the change that today we celebrate, we
Hmm.
enjoy, we get to experience that unfortunately at times we don't even value so much. And I hope people will understand that you don't have to go through that again to celebrate and value the freedoms and liberties you have today.
Yeah. So what's next? What's next? Who's up on deck?
Right. So let's see, producer, who is next on our. So this is Rani of Jhansi, or the Queen of Jhansi. Jhansi was a state or a little kingdom, which is now part of India, and she was one of the first women. In fact, she was the first woman who was part of the Great Rebellion, Indian Rebellion of 1857 against the British Raj, or as we call the colonization. And not only she defied becoming part of that British kingdom, she fought against it, and she was such an exception, a woman who was not just a figurehead. In those times women used to be figureheads. She wasn't just a figurehead, she was a queen that ruled, she was a queen that took decisions, she was a queen that protected her community, her kingdom, and gave people the dignity and brought the change even before the freedom struggle began. And she was born in 1828 in the town of Varanasi, which is a very, very holy town known in India. And earlier, as a child, she was called Manu. And she was approximately, I think, still just a teenager when she had a child and she became the queen. And that's when the British East India Company came over and started taking. She was one of those strong people, strong human beings who said, no, I am not having it. This is my nation, my country,
Wow.
not having it. And this is the most astonishing part. Not only she fought the battles, but the last battle of her life that she fought against the British is when she was, you know, covered by everybody around, all the soldiers around, British soldiers and everybody trying to get to her. She had the baby on her back, and this is the most horrifying and the, you know, biggest thing that in history, Indian history, that is revered. She and her child were cut into half while
Ooh.
fighting, and that's how she gave up life. But she, until she was alive, she did not give up, and she
Mhm.
did not,
She
you know,
fought to the end.
fought to the end,
Wow.
sacrificed everything. And she was offered, initially she was offered a big amount of, sum and everything to become part of the British rule and all that. But to me, it's not just about the, British rule and all that. To me, it is again about a woman who had everything, had other choices, who did not, she was rich, she was a queen, for heaven's sake, and she gave it all up. She fought tooth and nail. She gave her own life and her own child.
Hmm.
You have to be a woman to have that heart to know that today you and your child are going to die, but you're
And go
not
out and fight.
give up, and you fight for your people, you fight for your country, you fight for humanity, and you say no. So, it's one of the most horrifying, and I get goosebumps
Inspirational.
just talking about it, but most motivating, inspirational, and empowering stories when it comes to your human rights and your dignity. So once again, another woman that India especially can never be enough thankful of for, and the way she died, the way everything happened. If as she said, until the last drop of my blood, I will serve my country, and she did.
Wow. What loyalty, what conviction. That's like Joan of Arc, give your life for
Right,
your cause. Give your life for the cause.
right.
Wow.
Now let's mention some some honorable mentions for the women of today that are making these changes. So do you want to start with a few names?
No.
No.
No. You go.
No.
You go
Well,
first.
I think the in most recent history, well, it's not even history. I would say, Greta Thunberg is one of the girls.
Right. Yeah.
She's just a teenager making a change. It is not easy. What she's doing is not easy. I would be surprised if somebody doesn't know Greta Thunberg already. But she's that little girl who stood, who sat outside the parliament and said, I'm done with politicians. I'm done with all the excuses in terms of this Paris deal and all that for, earth conservation and everything, greenhouse effect. Said, enough. We got to take charge. And she's created such a movement. It's just mind
Well, she
blowing.
is one of those advocates for climate change that you just can't put down. She
Right.
is young. She has drive. She has a mission, and she is not stopping. Nobody can tell her no. She's
Right.
not afraid of any establishment. She's not afraid to stand up in front of anybody and tell
Right.
them, you are killing our earth.
I'm not
You
going to
have,
mention politicians, but she has looked straight in the eyes, angry,
yeah,
and
and said,
it's a very
no,
known
this
meme.
is not
Angry, like, you are
okay.
doing this. It's not
This is not
okay.
okay. This
You're
is not
responsible for
okay.
this.
So yeah, so definitely she is one to watch and to support and to get behind, because she is going to make huge, massive changes
Right.
on the path that she's on right now. She is remarkable. She's a
Right.
remarkable young teenage woman.
Right. Do you have another name, or do you want me to go on?
You can go on.
All right.
I'm
Well,
I'm being surprised, just like everybody else who's watching.
another one that I have in my mind is, now it's going to sound a little bit different from other cases, but Meghan Markle, or now the Duchess of Sussex.
Or
To
now
me,
Megan win.
well, she will be, but this is the fact, and that's what I'm talking about. She has defied the norms. First, a black girl to actually get married in the royalty, British royalty.
They call her black. She's mixed. Yeah, she's mixed.
Well, she says that, and I understand. But what I'm saying is that she has done that has not happened before in British royalty. She's broken those norms. Then
It has been done, though. It has been done.
in British royalty.
Princess Charlotte. Yes,
Okay, I
Princess
do not
Charlotte.
know. I do
But
not know. So there you go.
yeah, Princess Charlotte. But in modern
Times,
time, she has.
right.
Yeah, she has brought color back into the
Right.
She's brought some color back to the
not just
family.
that. She stirred the pot again,
But she has
and
stirred the pot since she stepped into the role, and she is not going to be quiet or the norm or what everybody expects of her
good.
to be or do. And she has never been that in her entire
Has
life.
never been that. That's right.
It's not new.
And it's amazing because she is, and I think it's only the third time in British royalty that somebody has given up royal duties and royal titles, and I think it's only the third time. And in this modern time, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, or Duke and Duchess of Sussex, on March 31 leave that title, leave that honor to have their independent lives and
blaze their own trail, have their own lives, and figure it out.
And look, there's so many more names. Again, we can go on and on and on, but I guess those are the names that right now come on top of my head. And
she'll definitely make the history books for who she is and what she's done and how she's shaken things up in the monarchy.
Right.
There are so many amazing women. We did mention earlier Princess Diana, who, again, which is much like Meghan is doing right now. She broke stereotypes. She broke the norm. She was considered a rebel. She was considered, someone they couldn't control. The palace tried to control, and she was uncontrollable because she was going to do what she was going to do. And I think the common thread of these women that we talked about today is they led with their heart. They led with what they felt was right and how they saw their contribution being more than just themselves, but for humanity. So I think that's the common thread that we can see through everyone that we spoke about tonight, that they all saw it for the greater good of humanity.
I think the word that two words that come to my mind is compassion and courage. Really, that's what they define.
Exemplified.
Compassion and courage, and in their own individual standing and unique way. But just So I think
I'm looking.
Yeah, go on.
I'm so silly. I'm so silly. I got my eyebrows done today, and I'm looking at my eyebrows. I'm like, ooh, they look pretty good in here.
All right,
especially since my hair is up.
Totally different location. Totally different
that's just what completely off topic. Listen, I was just looking because I've been looking at the camera. Listen, I've been looking at the camera, and I just looked down at myself. I'm like, oh, my eyebrows do look kind of good tonight. You caught me. So I'm transparent. I saw myself looking at myself, and I was like, oh, that's not too bad.
You're transparent, and I'm almost naked. So, right.
There you go. That's Stramaniac for you.
Right.
Get stripped down.
Loud and obnoxious. And
stripped down, loud and obnoxious.
Well, the thing is,
fun-loving.
This is fun, and I'm glad that we bring some fun and joy and empowerment in lives, and entertain people and
inform, educate, influence, all of those good things. That's what we do.
Our creativity, engagement, and leadership.
We do all of it.
Now we have just lost it. Now the producer's like, okay, off.
All right, we're shutting it down because we had a good time. We hope
Thank
that
you so much for watching, and
you learned something or enjoyed the show. Let us know. We'd love to do some more of this. So if you've enjoyed it, let us know.
This was Women Unleashed on Maniac TV. With me is my co-host
Alicia Curry, the Red Carpet CEO.
And I am Szebastian Onne, the Almost Naked CEO. And until next, you dream big and we
make it happen. Good night.
See ya, guys.